You are listening to the Postcast, presented by the Locked On Senators podcast and the Glebe Central Pub. We love our friends at the Glebe Central Pub. You can find them in the heart of the Glebe, 779 Bank Street, and they also have the Send shuttle that is heading right back to the bar after a happy victory at the CTC. The Senators get their first win at home in 6 games, beating the Calgary Flames 4-1, pulling away in the third period thanks to the first goals of the season from Rourke Chartier and Travis Hamonic back-to-back. The chat wants positive Pilsy. Will they get them?
Let's go. Positive Pilsy back in the house just before the Sweden trip. Definitely needed some positivity before this team headed over the pond because, Ross, if that would have been 6 straight home losses plus 2 more home games in Sweden, that could have been an ugly stretch there. But the Ottawa Senators make sure to stop that skid. A 4-1 win over the Calgary Flames. And in the postcast, we vent or we vibe. We're vibing. Let's go. Let's go.
The Senators dominate on the shot clock, 38-25. But if you only watched the first 5 minutes of this game, you wouldn't have thought that would be the case. Korpisalo's the main reason why the Senators, weren't down 2-0 like they were the other night in a matter of minutes, but he also kept them in throughout. He made big save after big save, and then as we put in the title, the Senators pulled away in the third period, out shooting Calgary 12-2, outscoring them 2-0, and wrapping a bow on what's been a pretty tough first part of the schedule.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Ross. Like, we looked at this Calgary game this week. Toronto, Vancouver, Calgary. The Calgary one is the one we had circled. Like, that's a team down on their luck right now. It's the game before you head over to Sweden. And a big thing that we've been talking about, and Meth has kind of emphasized this, is you don't want teams stewing over a loss for a long period of time. It would have been a couple days before the Sens get to go back in action up against teams in Sweden. So I'm so glad that they end this homestand off with a win against Calgary. Whew, what a relief.
And they finally are able to, get compound goal on top of a goal. I feel like was that, and maybe somebody's going to pull out one of those first 3 home games when everything was going in, and it could have happened then, but I feel like it's the first time in a long time that the Senators have been able to, have more than one line contributing at a time. The first goal, Mathieu Joseph, great net front presence. He had that all game as well too, right? He also drew the penalty out front as well. Korpisalo has the helmet right now, does he? Or did he already move it on?
He moved it on to Kubalik, right?
Kubalik has the helmet right now.
People in the chat can let us know, but I think that's right.
It is. He got it in Toronto after the 2-goal performance. Tonight, He gets a 1-touch assist. I didn't know he had that in his bag of tricks. He
hates having the puck on his stick, Ross, whether it's a shot or a pass.
Wide open net. And he made no mistake there. The chat wants to talk about Travis Hamonic. I mean, he's playing way too high in the lineup, but makes up for it. So you just have to remember he's an offensive defenseman, right, Pilsy?
That's the thing. Don't expect this guy to be a shutdown veteran defender. This guy's beaver tapping all over the ice. Timmy, I don't care you got 90 points. Pass the puck to Travis Hamonic, and he's going to put it in the back of the net.
Hilarious. Great to see guys get their first, though. You don't want that to stretch out too long into the season.
Get the monkey off the back.
Scary moment at the end of the game. Hopefully it's nothing more than a precaution, but Vladimir Tarasenko and Artem Zub bumped into each other, and Zub went right off. Tarasenko's kind of giving his head a shake. So hopefully Zub is nothing more than out for precautionary for the last 30 seconds and get him right back in the mix, because this is just a different team. They still have some defensive problems, issues, if you will. You're going to need to break down at some point, but I think just overall, this team is so much calmer to watch when Artem Zub's out there.
Well, and Ross, he's the right partner for Jake Sanderson, and Jake Sanderson being set up for success plays a big role in this team being set up for success. So having Zub with Sanderson is great. And yeah, I am a little nervous, Ross, about that one with Tarasenko and Zub, especially after Zub just coming back after kind of a more extended time away from playing after that ear injury. And You don't know, maybe something happened with his head there, and that can affect what was going on with his ear. So hopefully it's not a big deal, but at least, Ross, there's a couple days off before they have another game here. But probably you don't want to be traveling that much on a plane if your head's not feeling great. So fingers crossed that Zub's okay.
It'll be a happy flight over the Atlantic Ocean with the Ottawa Senators pulling away in the third, getting a 4-1 victory over Calgary. Pilsy, first two periods, we put out the tweet after the second. Let's get some thoughts. And it was the least confident I think I've ever seen this fan base as they're leading throughout a game. This until the fourth goal went in, I think was when the sigh of relief was had kind of as a collective online. Like when was it for you where you're like, okay, I'm feeling all right about this game?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I was feeling a little different than Sens fans, Ross. I wasn't like overly confident. Like I wasn't like, oh yeah, Sens are winning this game for sure. But I felt good that at least they were hanging on here and they weren't going to let this slip away for most of the game. I thought once you get those bang goals, and it's obvious a 4-1 lead is pretty good. But the key is, Ross, the momentum goals that we always talk about. They get that 3-1 goal, but that's not quite enough for Sens fans to feel confident about this team getting a win in November, unfortunately. But then you don't mess around. Keep that foot on the gas pedal, and they get the 4-1 goal only, 2 minutes after? And that really put this one to bed. It just seemed like Calgary's top guys weren't clicking. Like Nazem Kadri was essentially invisible. Jonathan Huberdeau, or Captain Casual, as our guy Meth likes to refer to him, other than that chance on the breakaway where Corpy absolutely stood him up and stops the 5-hole. I didn't notice a lot from him either. So this was a Calgary team that they didn't have it going. And we saw the Senators just had a back-to-back game on the second half where things just weren't quite clicking the way they wanted. And now Calgary, after a shootout game up against Toronto last night, you could tell it was kind of wearing on them. Whereas the Senators, I don't know, at least to me, it seemed like they had fresher legs and were getting better chances.
The announcers certainly wanted to make it known that the Flames had come back 3 times in the last week to at least force overtime. They weren't able to do that tonight. One of the more peculiar stats that's growing and growing for Ottawa is since the home opener, their power play has converted in just about every game.
Yeah.
But never more than once.
Yeah, just once. Hey, I'd rather that than none at all, Ross, but they're able to get it done here. And I thought, what do you think of the 5-on-3? I thought it was okay, but like, man, a 5-on-3 for 1 minute and 11 seconds. Like I thought once it was a 5-on-4, they ended up getting better chances, but the 5-on-3, they just seemed a little discombobulated.
They took too long to set up, and that was after they won. Like Giroux snaps back the original faceoff, but then next thing you know, it's 35 seconds later, and they haven't set up in the zone. They only really had that one chance. Chychrun got a one-timer, glove save, nice save by Dustin Wolf there, and then they were able to set up Norris once on the 5-on-4. But still, disorganization was my final note on that 5-on-3. And then once Coleman scored at the end of the second period, I said, no, I can't have the missed 5-on-3 opportunity be the story of this game. And it was prime for the Picken to be that. But thank God it isn't, and we can move along. But the 5-on-3, I feel like it's been a problem for the Sens for years. No, like they don't seem like the type of team that's going to step on your throat when they have those opportunities. 1 minute and 11 seconds, Pilsy. Yeah. This wasn't your Baker's dozen seconds at the end of a power play, your second units out there. No, they had time to organize, and they just didn't do it.
Yeah, and I was, as soon as Chick gets that penalty drawn on him, I was yelling at the TV to Drew, let him touch it. Like, just get the 5-on-3 in the face-off. Drew's going to win it. You're going to be all good. But yeah, I agree, Ross. I feel like they just try to get a little too cute with it, with the 5-on-3, especially with the zone entry. Especially when you have a power play like this, like when you've got shooters like Norris, like Chychrun, like Tarasenko, like Kubalik, like don't mess around being cute with it. Just cycle the puck a little bit and then feed one-timers as much as you can. You don't have to try to go backdoor or to have 3 consecutive one-touch passes. Simple one-timers and let it rip.
Kubalik might be a disher after tonight. That was one of the highlights of the night for the Ottawa Senators. That great effort play, first and foremost, from Drake Batherson.
Yep.
Kind of a nothing shot, but created an offensive opportunity, and he went and got it. So credit to him. And he puts it out front to Kubalik, one toucher to Rourke Chartier, and that turns out to be the insurance goal. The Senators, by the way, give up less than 2 goals in a game for only the second time this season. The other, back in the 4th game of the year, so it's the span of 9 games, that 6-1 win over Washington. But you can draw this one up as a Joonas Korpisalo certified W after maybe one that he probably deserved a better fate in. And now look at him, back-to-back wins for him against Toronto. And now he didn't get the decision in the game he came in. No, Forsberg had already let in both.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Brought myself right off the railroad there. But Pilsy, what do you say we get some Send Central standouts?
You know what, Ross? For once, I'm excited to get to Send Central standouts. You got 2 of them. I got 2 of them. Let's roll.
Let's do it right after we tell everybody about our friends at the Glebe Central Pub. The Glebe Central Pub is right in the heart of the Glebe. 779 Bank Street, walking distance from Lansdowne. I saw there's going to be some more money going into the area. Good times are had at Lansdowne, and always stop by the Glebe Central Pub. 779 Bank Street, they'll have the games on. Not only that, but they always make sure that there's an interactive environment. We love that for the pub. We also love the Send Shuttle. So for $17, round trip gets you to and from the CTC, and the wheels on the bus go round and round right back to the GCP after the game. You can meet up with friends, just have a great time, as you should after Senators win at the Glebe Central Pub. 779 Bank Street. Visit them right in the heart of the Glebe for great food, great drinks, and the Ottawa Senators shuttle.
Man, I love the GCP, Ross. Ooh. This podcast is also brought to you by our friends over at Collective. Guys, if you run a solo small business, you're an army of one, but you still need some help. You need a CPA, a bookkeeper, separate payroll solution, and a whole lot more. Let Collective take care of the paperwork while you take care of running the business. If you're running a business of one, you're wearing many hats in your day-to-day. But with Collective, bookkeeping and accounting don't need to be one of them. Don't worry about the numbers. As you guys know, Ross and I, not math guys. If we needed a business to take care of, we'd be looking to Collective, that's for sure. You can start saving thousands of dollars and hours of your time by letting Collective handle your business paperwork. They say if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. But as a freelancer, there's always that dreaded paperwork that comes with it. With Collective, just focus on what you love. Collective is the #1 financial solution for freelancers, contractors, and self-employed entrepreneurs. So if that sounds like you, check out Collective. They'll handle all the paperwork you dread. Taxes, bookkeeping, accounting, even payroll. The best part, it's a fraction of the cost of a CPA. Join thousands of solopreneurs who have saved an average of $10,000 per year on taxes with their structure. So right now, Collective is offering 1 month free and no onboarding fee when you go to collective.com/LockedOnNHL. Tell them Locked On NHL sent you. That's $550 value, guys, when you go to collective.com/LockedOnNHL. That's collective.com/LockedOnNHL.
Yes. Ha ha ha. Yes.
Welcome back to the Postcast. I'm Ross Levitan. Forgot to introduce us right off the top. Pilsy, I was just so fired up that the Senators get to send everybody home happy for the first time in 6 games at home. Senators 4, Calgary Flames 1. Dustin Wolf, I was worried when they showed the starting goalies. They said, hey, from the WHL from 2017 to 2019, #1 in saves, #1 in save percentage, #1 in goals against average. Then the next 3 years in the AHL, they showed the same stats, first. But not tonight, as he gets his first NHL loss. He was 1-0 last season. What'd you think as a goalie-friendly show for any Flames fans out there? Dustin Wolf's performance tonight. Was he the reason why the Senators won, like his W last name teammate Joseph Woll was on Wednesday?
Nice. No, I definitely don't think that Wolf was to blame here. I thought he played all right. I mean, the Batherson goal, what are you going to do on that? That's just an incredible hand-eye coordination play by Drake. The Joseph goal, that's a tip in front. The Chartier goal, absolutely no chance for him there. And then I'm blanking on the Hamnick goal. Maybe he wants the Hammer goal back. That's probably it. But overall, a good game for Dustin Wolf. He had a couple good saves where he gets over. And that Norris one-timer that he stopped specifically, had a couple good saves on Chikrin. But I think Flames fans, you've got a good goalie ahead of you. It's just going to take some time here, and you got to figure out how to get him in the mix with Markstrom and Vladar there. It's kind of an awkward situation.
Awkward situation all around in Calgary. Nikita Zadorov, agent, made it widely known yesterday that he wants out, and he looked disinterested at times. Like he was happy to take that interference penalty against Drake Batherson after he lost his stick or snapped it at the ozone. And he was just casual on a few plays. Was it him who Batherson went around to set up the Rourke Chartier goal? I think it was behind the net. Yeah, he jumped boards and Zadorov. I need to double check that one, but overall it was the Flames aren't good. It comes down to that. We have to keep in mind. I think that's why, everyone's happy to get the win. There's still a game under 500 right now in Sens Nation, but at the same time, it's like, okay, if you didn't get that one, it was more, I think we would obviously get a more stark reaction. But right now, it's like, okay, one step in the right direction, go over there, have a couple practice days and see what happens.
Yeah, 6 and 7 looks a whole lot better than 5 and 8, Ross. So I'm glad they got this win, and they needed to give the fans at the CTC something to cheer about here. The Glebe Central Pub shuttle bus to the Sens games, you got to bring those people back to the GCP with a W so they can celebrate.
Yes. So put your panic button away, Sens fans.
Gone.
Because
in the drawer shut.
Next time you see the Ottawa Senators in this country, they might be above 500. We can hope. They've got 2 opportunities overseas, Minnesota, Detroit, and then we'll reassess when they get back. But let's assess tonight's game. Number 1 Sens Central standout is...
You take it.
Joonas Korpisalo.
Boom.
He was great early. He was great often. Huberdeau did not make any moves on that breakaway, but it was a breakaway save nonetheless, and still worries me when he thinks he's going to play the puck.
Yeah.
But overall, he was very good. Starting quality goaltending from the Ottawa Senators, Joonas Korpisalo tonight.
Yep, agreed, Ross. I definitely wanted to give Corpusalo some love. A 960 save percentage. How are you? You love to see that. And I'll say it again, but Corpusalo continues to impress me with his play down low. I really find when he's in his butterfly and he's got a scramble, maybe he's not the best at locating the puck, but he does a good job of making sure he's got everything covered down low so that if he can't find it and sticks are flying around, there's chaos and guys are getting rebounds, as long as they're not lifting it up, he's probably got that ice level covered. So definitely shout out to Joonas Korpisalo here. And there was a bit of a scare near the end of the game where Kadri got tripped up and ran into him, but I think he's going to be okay, and he got lots of time to rest here. So I'm not too concerned about Korpisalo on that one.
So what do you do? What do you do in that situation? You just hope, because you're not gonna take him out as a precaution, because he had his right leg outside of the post. It was just the worst possible angle. So thankfully, he stayed in the game.
Yeah, I was a little nervous that they might have thought about putting Forsberg in there, but obviously it wasn't that bad that they needed to do that. So I'm happy to see Korpisalo finish this one off and try to pad those stats a little. He's got to get a little a boost in numbers here.
Swanky Pants, is it time tonight a number 1 goalie in Ottawa, or are we still rolling this tandem? Thanks as always, boys. Thank you, Swanky Pants.
Mr. Pants, I would say Joonas Korpisalo, number 1 goalie here. I would like to see, at least for the time being moving forward, Korpisalo being treated as a bona fide number 1 starter and Forsberg as a backup.
Is that when they get back from Sweden? You can't take Forsberg to Sweden and not give him a start.
No, I want to give Forsberg a start in Sweden, but I think you give him the Minnesota game just because that game up against the Red Wings is much more important. And Minnesota Wild haven't had a great season, as you talk about goaltending struggles. Ross, I think we were talking about this the other day. Minnesota Wild is among the worst teams in goals against. So let's give Forsberg a chance up against them and keep our number 1 guy, Corpy, in the net against division rivals.
We'll have 3 days next week to preview the Sweden game.
No kidding.
The Detroit game comes first. Detroit on Thursday, Minnesota on Saturday. Tonight it was a 4-1 win. Korpisalo, number 1 standout. And for number 2, Who choose you?
I'm going to go with Claude Giroux, Ross. I know maybe in the maybe you have Mathieu Joseph in order there as number 2, but I want to highlight Claude Giroux's game. You guys know in the postcast, I love talking about the face-offs. It's such an important part of the game. I feel like it gets overlooked. And when you're talking about face-offs with the Ottawa Senators, you got to talk about Claude Giroux. He goes 12 for 18, good for 67%, and they showed it on the broadcast. I love the way DJ Smith is just like, hey, Claude, I know you're tired. I know maybe this isn't your line out there. Maybe this isn't the situation you want to be in. Go out there, win the draw, hustle back to the bench. He did that shorthanded. He did that on the power play. And this guy just gets it done. He's such a calm, classic grizzled vet that just knows how to work through the ebbs and flows of a game, let alone a season. So I love watching Claude Giroux out there. I feel like we've been hard on him, kind of not being as dominant or maybe noticeable is a better word out there. But this guy's still above a point per game pace, and he has another great game tonight.
You know who doesn't have a great game tonight? NHL.com for me. I can't even open the face-off summary, but that's my own. What
do you want to know, Ross?
I want to know all the face-off stats. Like the Ottawa Senators snap back 57%, but they really do lean on Claude Giroux. That's what made me think about it, is that Claude Giroux on the penalty kill a couple times, took the face-off and got off right away. So Are they lacking confidence without Casty in the lineup to have that second face-off guy? How did the other centermen do on Ottawa? How did Tim Stützle and Josh Norris snap him back? And tell me Rourke Chartier as well, as he gets his first goal of the season tonight.
Yeah, well, I looked right to Rourke Chartier right away, Ross, for shorthanded face-offs, and wasn't his night in the dot. He goes 3 for 9. But then you look at Brady, 3 for 3, 100%, not too shabby. And then 6 for 7 for Tim Stützle, 66%. So they were spreading it around. But I mean, Brady Tkachuk, he's not playing shorthanded. Timmy does play shorthanded once in a while. But I think when you just have a guy that's as automatic as Claude Giroux, you just put he's a face-off specialist. You just put him in there when you need him and get him off.
Well, Timmy had an 85.7% night in the dot overall.
Tonight?
Yeah, I think you were looking at shorthanded, weren't you?
Oh, no, I said 6 for 7, not 67%, 6 for 7. So, yes.
Yeah, very, very good.
Yeah, that's nice from Timmy.
So you're going with Claude Giroux, rightfully so. Led the team in expected goals percentage tonight as well. Was just a leader. Looks so good with the neck guard, too. I feel like it goes in with, he just needs to get the Sens, like, the logo that's on their shoulder, and then he's literally bringing back the Yash and turtleneck. That's what we need here.
Yeah. Ross, I'd like to see more players wearing the neck guard. I know it's not comfortable, blah, 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 but I think especially with the black jerseys, it's a nice look first. And then obviously you want to protect yourself as much as you can. Hockey is a crazy game out there. You might as well give yourself the best chance of protection as possible.
Hockey is a crazy game. Like when you go,
hockey is awesome.
When you go 56 games and you get 3 goals, none at even strength. And then you can come out the next season and shut everybody up who was doubting you. That's what Mathieu Joseph has done this year. He gets his 4th goal of the season, and it takes him into game 13. He's dominant with his speed. He's a great penalty killer. Like, I'm so happy that he's been able to turn around this quickly. He looked lost last year, and it just goes to another reminder that when players suffer lower body injuries and speed is their number one attribute, you have to give them the benefit of the doubt over the next 6 to 8 months, or at least the next season, to fully recover. Because imagine if they had paid a 1st or a 2nd round pick to get rid of him, and he was doing this.
And Ross, they needed Mathieu Joseph to figure things out because they were lacking a speedster on the 3rd line, right? And he is a guy, well, he doesn't play in the 3rd line, but in that type of cap slot on your team, right? Making just under $3 million. And Mathieu Joseph, he does a really great job drawing penalties as well. He drew 2 penalties tonight, and that's the kind of guy where he's just got to know that his speed is such an asset. Just keep your feet moving, and you're going to create plays, or at the very least, you're going to draw penalties and tire other teams out when they're on the ice. So, like you mentioned, Ross, all the stick taps in the world go to Mathieu Joseph for the way he's been able to turn this season around compared to last.
And he used that speed to get a breakaway in the first period. Jake
Yep.
Sanderson on a shorthanded opportunity. We used his skating and found him right in the perfect kind of it was like a through ball in soccer where he skated perfectly into the puck. And got to give credit to the young goaltender Dustin Wolf, who made the save on that particular opportunity. Now, Pilsy, I wish Martian was here because Martian was pretty tough on Drake Batherson after the last loss. And he came out here, and he's the fourth player that you want to highlight as a Sen Central standout.
Hey, I went to bat for Drake Batherson last postcast when it was not a popular opinion. Let me tell you that. And I thought he really kind of doubled down this game, playing a lot better. And you know what? Last game, I get it, guys. That was a game where the Ottawa Senators only scored 2 goals. So I was just picking one of the goal scorers because there wasn't a whole lot there. And Drake Batherson was directly a result of turning the puck over for a goal. But right after in the media, he says, you know what? I know that's 100% on me. That's my fault. I got to be better. And I thought he was a lot better in this game. He gets a really nice goal where, like I mentioned, great hand-eye coordination. You can see him watching it, boom, times it and snaps it in. I wonder if he played some baseball out east as a kid, Ross. Maybe we can find that out because it looked like he had a good almost a bunt there where he's able to get it, and Dustin Wolf has no chance. And I just thought he's stronger on the forecheck. You're not seeing him turn the puck over as much as he was certainly at the beginning of the season. And I just think, obviously, as a player, you don't want to get demoted in the lineup. And when you go from playing on a line with Brady Tkachuk and Josh Norris to anywhere else, it's more likely than not you're being demoted. But I feel like he's a guy where if you give him less ice time, there's less 5-on-5 for him to make those brutal defensive plays. And he's a little more fresher for the power play where he's a lot more lethal and a lot more successful. So I think switching Tarasenko and Batherson, that's what we called for, Ross, when we were looking at the lines. What do we want to change? How can this team be better? DJ Smith, he does it. And it turned out a lot better. I thought Batherson looked better in his spot, and I thought Tarasenko looked great on that line as well.
The Ottawa Senators win 4-1 against the Calgary Flames. The scoring summary: Mathieu Joseph opened for Ottawa, assists to Jake Sanderson, who just had such a perfect pivot, bring to the middle, snap in a deflectable shot, and Joseph takes advantage. His 4th of the season, Sanderson's 7th assist, and Tim Stützle with a beauty seam pass, his 13th assist and 1st of 2 tonight. Then in the second period, as Pilsy said, Drake Batherson stepped up to the plate and batted one out of the air after Tkachuk kind of, cradled Jacob Chikrin's rebound. So Tkachuk's 4th assist of the season. Chikrin gets his 7th assist. And then Blake Coleman scored on a 2-on-1 where Travis Hamonic was walking in quicksand at the offensive blue line, gets beat, and there's no recovery there.
Yeah, that's a tough one for Hamonic for sure. And then, I mean, Brandy, I guess that's the right play, but when you're 5'1", diving on the ice doesn't cover a whole lot of surface area. So I don't know if that's necessarily the right play, but you do got to give stick taps. It was a nice pass, and Coleman puts it away. So what are you going to do? That's going to happen once in a while.
You know what you're going to do, Pilsy?
Let's hear it.
First, you're going to do nothing on a 5-on-3 just to put the temperature a little bit higher in the building going to the third period. And then the 2 most unlikely sources, Rourke Chartier and Travis Hamonic, will each score their first goal of the season and put this game away in a span of 1 minute and 22 seconds. Rourke Chartier scored his 3 minutes and 50 seconds into the third off that beautiful tic-tac-toe passing play. Drake Batherson was so solid forechecking. He should literally watch that play on repeat the entire trip to Sweden. The zone entry with speed, try to make a move, get a puck on net, go retrieve it, battle down low, and make a play.
Well, and he had great forechecking with his goal up against Vancouver as well, Ross. So you know what? Maybe Batherson, his defensive game and the turnovers are looking really bad, and they have been bad. But the forechecking, I will say, especially on a line where he's kind of the guy that's going to be expected to do that over who was he playing with? Kubalik and Järventie on that third line. Like, Batherson's got to be the driver on that line. And I thought he stepped up, and I thought he really elevated his game, even though he got demoted in the lineup. So stick taps to Drake.
The Senators will travel to Sweden on Sunday. So, yes, tomorrow. And then they're going to shake the cobwebs out right away. Senators PR tweeting out that they will be practicing at 1:15 local time on Monday, which is 7:15 a.m. Eastern time. So off the plane onto the ice, they're going to try to beat this jet lag. So they'll have all day, all afternoon Monday if they practice at local time, 1 p.m. Tuesday, Wednesday, and then it's a game day. So I feel like at that point you should be now rested enough to be ready to go.
Yeah, I think so. And Ross, I got to assume they've had people take a look at the most effective way to kind of plan out the time zone change, the sleep schedule, when you should get them back on the ice. And I would hope this would have been a very thought out process of how they're going to schedule things going up to the Sweden games.
Well, let's see if it's best in class, Pilsy. We'll have plenty of time to discuss Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We'll have a Send Central citizen. We want to get people on who are overseas for the games. It seems like there's, from just kind of the level of interest I've seen on Twitter and the people posting, that either they're already over there. Like I know the Centennial guys are already over there.
Dr. Bob is over there.
Of course, Dr. Bob couldn't drive.
I was going to say, well, maybe Ross, we don't know. Maybe he parked his Toyota on a boat and sat in it the whole way. And he did not fly. He's still technically in the car. I would let that slide. I would allow that. What I do want to say, though, is, Ross mentioned we're going to try to get a Send Central citizen. If you have not been a Send Central citizen and you're going to the Sweden games, send us a DM, because we want to get someone before the Sweden games. And we've got a couple people that we've already pegged as boots on the ground reporters for after the Sweden games. So let us know if you're waiting to be a Send Central citizen. You're heading over to Sweden.
Our guy Sean Redding's going to be over there. Our guy Dylan DiGiacomo's going to be over there. So we're going to make sure to get all your voices heard either before or after the Ottawa Senators, or during, because there is that Friday between the two games. So lots to get to there for the Ottawa Senators before playing a divisional matchup where a win against Detroit would put them over 500. That would be a beautiful thing. Pilsy, finally, I want to bring up, we always do this after every game, shout out the hockey game cards at Hockey Stat Cards. But I'm going to, I like to put you on the spot. A little trivia never hurt.
Hit me.
Who had the best game according to the advanced analytics for the Ottawa Senators tonight?
Well, I know we talked about Claude Giroux having the team leading goals for percentage. So, and I know he had a decent Corsi. So I'm going to go with Claude Giroux.
Claude Giroux is third.
Okay. So that's not a bad guess.
No, it's not. But do you want a hint?
Yeah.
He was not one of our 4 Send Central standouts.
Ooh. Tarasenko?
No, it was not Vladimir Tarasenko.
Chychrun.
No, it was not Jacob Chychrun. You get one more guess, and I want the chat to be lighting up. Who's number 1? And until I see who's number 1, I'm not going to tell you. Tim Stützle is number 1.
Oh, got it. Yes. Woo. There we go.
Just in the nick of time. You get it. It's Tim Stützle with 2 assists tonight. Tim Stützle leading this Ottawa Senators team. It's so funny because he does have another gear. Again tonight, couple giveaways, whether it's on the power play, and I know you take the good one with the bad, Pilsy, but you want to limit the bad as much as you can. But at the end of the day, the numbers don't lie, and Tim Stützle has 17 points in 13 games.
He has 14 assists in 13 games, Ross. Like, even without goals, he's at a point above a point per game pace. Like, quietly, Timmy Superstar he's working in the shadows. He doesn't have his cape and he's not flying around being obvious about it. He's just quietly doing his thing out there. So shout out Tim Stützle.
As long as he can get that shooting percentage up a little bit, he's got the lowest shooting percentage of any Senator with 4 or more points. There's a stat for you. He's only shooting 7.7%. That's tied with Rourke Chartier in shooting percentage. So we got to pump that up.
And one of his goals wasn't on an empty net. So really, he's only scored 2 goals on a goalie. So sheesh.
But 13 points at even strength in 13 games. So Timmy's getting it done. And you still think there's another gear. The Ottawa Senators also have a 37-year-old in Claude Giroux at over a point per game. So we'll have plenty to break down here. The next segment of games is done. We wanted a little better, but at least you win 2 out of the last 3, including the one against the Leafs, which felt a little, you puff your chest out a little bit after Battle of Ontario. Pillsy, any final thoughts as we head into a recovery Sunday, and then Monday we hit the ground running, because next week is the week the Senators get back to 500.
Final thoughts for me is, I know I already mentioned it, but it cannot be emphasized enough. Getting this win is just so huge that you're not stewing on a loss, and that you could snap that winless streak at home. You got to win at home. You got to win before stretches, and it's November. Every win is so much sweeter because Sens fans aren't used to getting wins in November. So that's another win in November. What are they, 2 for 4 in November?
2 and 4, right? No.
Let's do 6 games already in November.
Let's do November. Kings 0-1, Lightning 0-2, Leafs 1-2, Vancouver Canucks 1-3.
So they're 2 for 3. 2
and 3. They're 2 and 3 in 5 games.
Yes. Sorry. Yes. So,
and that was counting.
Not math, guys. Sorry, not math, guys.
That's
but
worst podcasting we've ever done.
I don't know. That's debatable. But yes, it's awesome. They got that win, a 4-1 win over the Calgary Flames. You got to beat teams when they're down, and this Calgary Flames team is down, and now they get to chill. They get to, as Meth said, you get to have a couple laughs on the plane, get the card games going, go get some sightseeing done in Sweden, have some good team bonding experiences, get some of the Europeans that are usually typically a little bit more quiet over here, get them with the green light, having fun, and the vibes are good heading into the first game in Sweden. Let's go.
Who gets the fire helmet for their bag on the trip to Sweden? Dominic Kubalik has it. We put the 4 options we went with in the Send Central Standouts presented by the Glebe Central Pub. Joonas, Korpisalo, Drake Batherson, Matthew Joseph, and Claude Giroux. We're seeing some write-ins for Tim Stützle and fair. Who do you think Dominic Kubalik gives it to?
I'm going to say that he's not going to boomerang it back to Corpusalo. So by default, I'm going to scratch Corpusalo out, even though nice game, Corpy. You know what? Rourke Chartier might get it. They love giving it to guy like Rourke Chartier. That's his first goal as an Ottawa Senators. So look out for Rourke Chartier, and Kubalik assisted on that goal. So he's like, hey, thanks for getting me my first apple of the season. I needed that. So I'm going, this is a sneaky one, probably long odds on FanDuel.com. I wish there was a who gets the fire helmet odds maker there. Maybe we'll talk to our people, get that done, Ross. But I'm going Rourke Chartier for the fire helmet.
Rourke Chartier scored his second NHL goal tonight, the first since 2018. And Bruce Garriock tweeting that after the game, Chartier told Tkachuk before the game. Sorry, that was brutal English here. We're basically
not math, not English, not science, not doctors.
This is basically after dark. It may as well.
We just talk hockey.
Bruce Garriock has a tweet here. So Chartier told everyone that this morning he told Tkachuk that he was overdue. I think it's been 5 years since he last scored. So I'm excited to see the emotion. And I was going to call him a young kid, but I feel like Timmy would call him a young kid. Hey, great when young kids come up and do that. It's like Timmy's 6 years older than you. He did that the other day with Sanderson after the Leafs game. He goes, it's great seeing young kids like that come in the league. It's like he's 4 months younger than you.
That's hilarious. I love that.
Just a vet. But I'm going to go, and funny that you said Chartier, because I'm going to go with Drake Batherson, the man who started that tic-tac-toe. So I have the guy who gave Kubalik the puck, and you have the guy who Kubalik gave the puck to get the fire helmet. We'll get that video on Twitter. We'll retweet it, of course, at Send Central. Shout out to Ottawa Fire as well. Love the work they're doing in the community, and it's cool that we're going to get these buckets for our Send Central. We just have to figure out how to get them to our locations sooner rather than later. But Pillsy, heck of a show tonight. Senators win 4-1. A defensive juggernaut, the Ottawa Senators, only allowing 1 goal.
Easy now.
And now we head over to Sweden. Beautiful Sweden. We'll talk to you on Monday. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan. Shout out to the Glebe Central Pub, 779 Bank Street. Check out the Send Shuttle $17 gets you to and from the CTC right back to the Glebe. Senators win 4-1. 2 points for Tim Stützle, 2 points for Drake Batherson, and a lot of firsts. The first goal for Rourke Chartier this season, the first goal for Travis Hamonic this season. Oh, soak in it, Sens fans. You deserve it after a tough couple of weeks. We'll talk to you on Monday in the Locked On Senators podcast. Have a great Sunday, everyone. For Pilsy, I'm Ross. Go Sens go in the chat. We absolutely love it. Sens win 4-1. We're a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.